With an increased popularity of Universal Orlando and all the Orlando theme parks, it is becoming much more difficult to enjoy a stress-free theme park vacation. So learning a few tips and tricks may make it a little easier is going to be time well spent. In this video, we are going to share a few things that you can do to get the most out of your day at the Universal Orlando theme parks, so stay tuned. If you're not already a subscriber, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now so you can be a part of our endless summer. After our many years of being a Universal Orlando annual pass holder and visiting both Universal Studios Florida and Islands of Adventure hundreds of times, we have figured out a number of strategies that make our days more enjoyable. To break it down for you, we have separated our tips and tricks into 3 individual categories: planning tips and tricks for when in the park, and money-saving tips. We're going to start off with our planning tips and tricks. Our first planning tip is to arrive early or stay late, as on most days, the crowds are the lightest when the park is opening or at the end of the night. From around mid-morning hours to mid-evening, depending on when the park closes that day, is typically when the crowds are at their heaviest and wait times are at the peak. So, by getting to the parks early first thing in the morning, chances are pretty good that you'll be able to get on a few rides and attractions before the heavy crowds arrive. You might have also noticed that the weather in Florida is usually pretty hot. During the later part of the morning to the early evening is the hottest time of the day, which makes it uncomfortable when you're walking around at a theme park. If you can arrange it, try to avoid much of the midday as possible. If where you're staying is not close enough to Universal for this to be practical, then pay close attention to our next planning tip. Our next tip is to stay on site. One of the best reasons to stay at an on-site hotel is that you'll have access to the park an hour before the normal opening. This benefit is included with all our Universal hotels, including Universal's new Endless Summer Resort. You will either have the opportunity to visit the Wizarding World of Harry Potter in either Universal Studios Florida or Islands of Adventure, as well as Universal's Volcano Bay before the crowds arrive. If you're heading to the Wizarding World, you can get right online at either Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey or Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts Bank. The wait times for these rides will increase quickly, so head right to the entrance as soon as the gates open. If you're planning on visiting Volcano Bay, we can almost guarantee that you will be able to get on at least 3 attractions in the first hour before the park officially opens. We would recommend you go to the Krakatoa Aqua Coaster first, where you will get at least 2 rides back-to-back before a line starts to form. Then, head over to the volcano and hit the Ko-Okiri Body Plunge and the Kala Tai Nui Serpentine Body Slides. If you still have time before the crowds arrive, try to get over to Oh Yay and Oh No Drop Slides. For the remainder of your day, use the Tapu Tapu wristband to wait on virtual lines for the remainder of the attractions at the park. There's an extra special benefit guests receive when staying on site at one of the 3 premier category hotels, which include Loews Portofino Bay Hotel, the Hard Rock Hotel, and Loews Royal Pacific Resort. This benefit is free Universal Express Pass Unlimited at Universal Studios Florida and Islands of Adventure for each guest staying in the room. Everyone in the room will be able to skip the regular lines at almost every single ride or attraction. The value of this benefit could be as high as $129 per person, so if a family of 4 is staying at one of these 3 premier category hotels, the cost of the hotel room itself, in most cases, is far less than the cost of purchasing Universal Express Unlimited at the parks. We at Endless Summer Florida feel that the Universal Express Pass is the absolute best benefit to have while visiting a theme park. There's no need to make attraction reservations 30 days in advance or have a detailed plan when you visit. You just show up to the parks and enjoy the day. If you feel like riding a particular attraction, then Universal gives you the flexibility to do so without interfering with other plans during the day. As a premier annual pass holder, Our Universal Express benefit doesn't start till 4 p.m., but we're typically able to ride just about every ride before the park closes and be finished in time to watch the cinematic celebration show. If you're considering staying at an on-site hotel, check out some of our video tours and reviews on several of the hotels at Universal. We will put links for you in the description below. Our next planning tip is to pack a bag. It's always good to travel light, but one of our best tips is to bring some small bag or backpack when visiting Universal. Depending on the time of the year, you may need to bring along a light jacket or sweatshirt, as well as a place to carry phones, cameras, wallets, and other essentials. Every time we visit Universal, we always bring a backpack that includes the following: ponchos or rain jackets, for either storms or to keep somewhat dry on the water rides. Water bottle. Universal will refill your water bottle at about every location, so there's no need to spend $4+ for a bottle of water. Snacks. Although we enjoy eating at Universal, at times your granola bar or a piece of fruit satisfies the hunger during the day. In your backpack, it should always include a banana. When you see one of Gru's minions, make sure you show it to them and watch what happens. Just make sure someone has a video camera ready to go. Tips and tricks when in the park. Use the single rider lines. A good number of the attractions at both Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure have single rider lines, which is a separate queue from both the standby line and the Universal Express line. The team members use single riders to fill in empty spots on the vehicles when odd-numbered parties are seated. While the number of odd-numbered parties is unpredictable, wait times can vary greatly between queues. In our experience, we found that single rider wait times can be just as fast as the Universal Express queue, which is traditionally much quicker than the standby line. You should be aware that your group will likely be separated when using the single rider line, so this tip may not be useful for families traveling with small children, but our next tip should help in that regard. If you are traveling with small children, make sure you check out our 2-part video series on the family-friendly rides and attractions at Universal. Child swap locations. Universal has set up child swap locations at a number of the most popular thrill rides and attractions, so if you're traveling with children who are not tall enough, or just don't want to ride, then someone in your party won't have to miss out. One adult can stay with the non-rider, while the remainder of the party goes on the attraction. When the remainder of the party is finished, the person who waited with the non-rider can board immediately, without having to go back to the beginning of the line. Here are the child swap locations at Universal Studios Florida. And here are the child swap locations at Universal's Islands of Adventure. Our next park tip is package pickup. Even though you're bringing a bag, you may not want to carry all your souvenirs and other merch that you picked up throughout the day, so let Universal hang on to your purchases for you and grab them at the end of the day at one of the package pickup locations at the front of both Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure. And if you are staying on site, Universal will have your purchases sent directly to your room, which is another great benefit of staying on site. The American Express Lounge is our next park tip. Universal has a partnership with American Express, also known as Amex, so if guests purchase their theme park tickets with an Amex card, they can enjoy access to the American Express Lounge in Universal Studios and receive discounts on in-park purchases. Located across from the exit of Shrek 4D and next to the Monsters Cafe main entrance, there is a single unassuming door with a very small sign that is the entrance to the lounge. There's a check-in desk where you'll have to present your Amex card for verification, but once inside, guests enjoy a quiet, air-conditioned lounge with access to bottled water and small snacks. There's even a private, and very clean, single-person bathroom for use by the lounge guests only. In addition to the lounge access, Amex card holders get 10% off a universal dining plan, quick service, and a Coca-Cola Freestyle souvenir cup when using their card for the purchase. Other offers include merchandise savings and a discount on 3-day photo packages with My Universal Photos. Check the Universal website or mobile app for all the details. The ability to use your mobile device to order food is our next tip. A relatively new feature is ordering food from the Universal app on your mobile device. Forget about waiting on long lines for food any longer. Just place your order, your chosen Universal dining establishment, go on a quick ride or attraction, then head on over to the restaurant, and your food should be about ready. Certificates for height requirements. If someone in your traveling party does not meet the height requirement for a particular ride, you can request a certificate that will allow your traveling party to bypass the lines for when your little one is tall enough. This certificate is the equivalent to Universal Express Pass and makes for an excellent and free souvenir from the trip. Free tours. While Universal Orlando offers a VIP tour experience that starts from $189 per person, there are individual behind-the-scenes tours that guests can take when visiting Universal Orlando. The tours are not typically advertised, and they're only available when a team member has the time to do so. While these short tours are typically less than 30 minutes, the team members make the experience completely worthwhile. Although there could be other secret tours available, here are the ones that we have enjoyed. Immigration Tour at Men in Black Alien Attack. You and your friends will sit in the immigration room on the first floor of the MIB headquarters, which you see when you're in the queue. You can sign the logbook and sit in one of the empty chairs and take photos until your heart's content. Tour of Hogwarts Castle. While this is just a walkthrough of the queue line for the Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey ride, if you can get a team member to be your guide, then they will point out a few of the real props from the Harry Potter movies. Revenge of the Mummy. The Revenge of the Mummy is also a walkthrough tour of the queue line for the ride itself, but your tour guide will point out a number of things from the movies that are quite interesting. At the end of the tour, you actually get to go below the roller coaster tracks and watch the ride from up above. Backstage at the Hard Rock Cafe. Of all the free tours at Universal, this one is absolutely the best. Our tour guide Eric has some of the greatest knowledge of rock and roll history and memorabilia of anyone that you'll ever meet. You will see some very rare items from the Beatles, as well as see the John Lennon private suite. And if you're lucky, maybe you'll get to go backstage in the green room at the Hard Rock Live concert venue. As with all the other tours, the backstage tour at the Hard Rock Cafe is only available when the staff has sufficient time to accommodate the guest. Our last category is money-saving tips and tricks, and our first tip is to look for deals in advance. The most expensive price for a theme park ticket is always at the gate on the day of your visit, but with some advanced pricing, you can save a fair amount of money by checking other available options, most of which are online. The Universal website says, save up to $20 off the gate price on multi-day tickets when you buy online. In addition to saving money buying admission tickets online, Universal is consistently running promotions, so depending on your travel dates, there may be the opportunity to save even more if you can find an offer that works with your schedule. There are also other online options to purchase Universal admission tickets. We're going to put some links in the description below to help you find a good deal on admission tickets. Just make sure that whatever source you buy from is reputable, since there's always theme park ticket fraud going on. So, when you're buying your tickets in advance, you will not only save money, but won't have to waste time standing in line buying tickets. There are already enough lines inside the park, so it's nice to skip one. Free parking after 6 p.m. Parking is not cheap at any of the theme parks, and regular self-parking costs $26 per day. However, if you plan on visiting after 6 p.m., then parking is free to all guests. dinner and movie deal at City Walk. Guests can bundle a great meal on one of the participating City Walk restaurants, along with a movie ticket to the Universal Cinemark Theater, starting from $28.12 per person. The meal includes one entree from a select menu and one non-alcoholic beverage. Since the theme parks at Universal are always changing, we will update this post as frequently as needed, and if we develop new tips and tricks, we will post an update so you can use this during your visit to Universal Orlando. Our final tip at Universal is to have fun and enjoy, because that's the reason you take a vacation. Whether it's 2 days or 2 weeks, the time always goes by quickly, so just relax and explore all Universal has to offer. Before you sign off, check out our video about the Universal Studios section of the park, where you will go on a tour of 8 rides and see highlights of both the Universal Superstar Parade and Universal's Cinematic Celebration. Click the video below to watch, and don't forget to subscribe.